Now onto the part we've been waiting for. Before we set up our cloud environment, we need to create a free account from Google. Google will give us $300 worth of credit that we can use to deploy anything in the Google Cloud Platform. We will also have 90 days before our account expires. The link to create this free Google account will be linked under this section. The first thing we are going to create is a VPC, short form for Virtual Private Cloud. In simple terms, this is just a network in our cloud environment. Under this VPC, we can have multiple subnets. We can also think of VPC as a way to group multiple networks in our cloud environment. And so a resource from VPC 1 will not be able to communicate with another resource in VPC 2 unless there's some sort of connectivity, usually using a tool like a VPN or establishing a pairing between these two VPCs. You can note here that I've pinned my most used cloud services for easy access. These are mostly the services we'll use for our Ghost deployments. Let's create our VPC to get started. We are going to create one subnet under this VPC, but there are two things to consider before we do that. The first is that we make sure that our subnet has enough IPs so that we don't run out of IPs in the future. There's a simple online calculator that can help us do this. As we can see, the number of usable hosts available to us in our SADA range is 126. This is more than enough for our deployments. You can choose any region, but I'm going to choose US West 2. Once you're done, you can create it. The second thing to consider when creating a virtual private cloud is that there will be no conflict between the cloud's network IPs and the on-premise network IPs. The reason for this is simply when you want to establish connectivity between a cloud and an on-prem network that has clashes in IPs, you will run into connectivity issues. Our VPC and Subnet has been provisioned, and so now we can create that firewall rule that will allow us to SSH into the VM which we will deploy shortly.